Hello and welcome to Clearview Times, where we explore the latest trends and topics shaping our world. Today, we're diving into the fascinating realm of artificial intelligence. Joining me are experts in the field who will shed light on AI's potential, implications and regulations. I am Florence Joshua, your host for today. With me on this very important program are the very Reverend Ikechukwu Anaga, the National Director of Economical and Interfaith Relation, and the delectable Prof. Rafatu Abdul Hamid, the Prof in Islam and Gender Studies, Jamaatul Nasir Islam. Let's take a quick break before we return.
Our skills are having very realistic skin, and our AI is very different. It's functioned to create companion and friendship and social type interactions with people. So our robots don't do physical human labor, but they're really meant for personal interaction. So you can think about it at a theme park, at a conference like this, or even at a senior's home where they can keep people company.
I'm Melody, your charming companion from Realbotics. We're all about creating customizable, human-like robots designed for connection and play. Basically, the perfect blend of technology and companionship.
Welcome back. Well, let's get started. So, our first question would be, what exactly is AI?
Thank you very much for that question. AI, as we all know, is one of the tools that has been introduced through the advancement of this our technology, and that is part of the offshoot or advantage of the technological advancement we have in Nigeria and in the whole world in general. And AI, as you have all known, is a type of machine that is capable of performing functions that human intelligence can do. These functions include, among other things, like reasoning, thinking, solving problems, and so on and so forth. And again, this AI, when it starts, it is of different categories. We have, for example, narrow AI, which is designed or programmed to perform specific functions. Take, for example, facial recognition by our phones. And we have the general AI, which is known as artificial general intelligence. And this is programmed in such a way that it performs so many functions like the human intelligence, or like the humans can do. And we have the super intelligent AI, which is also believed to in fact do some functions that even can be more than that of human intelligence. But we don't know how far AI can go, but the future will tell us. So this is just in brief my little understanding about AI.
Okay, so the Prof has given us various types of AIs we have. So, very Reverend Ikechukwu, what do you think AI? What do you think AI is?
Well, it's simply a simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, and AI can do natural language processing and speech recognition and machine vision. I think basically one of the major fears we have is that AI is created basically to take over the responsibility of humans.
Now the conversation is getting very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So there's been
but you know why I said that? I said that because we're good enough. Why don't we have AI to make whatever thing we do better? But you are seeing that AI is a non-biological machine that has conscience and does what humans do. Who can explain that?
Personally, I think AI is a good development.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think anything that makes your job easy and faster should be welcome.
Yeah, but not the one that will take over my job.
Okay, but we are noticing a shift. We are noticing a shift currently with the introduction of AI. Everybody is falling back to AI. So, why do you think that is?
Yes, let me come in here. I've listened to what Prof have said, but I think I have a little, I will deviate a little, looking at the, we need to look at the motive or the relevance or the position of AI in general. In as much as AI, there is no denying the fact that AI is very important to us because it is, just like I've said, an aspect of technological advancement which has positive as well as the negative impact. So in as much as it has some positive impact or influence that it can, impact in our activities, in our daily lives, I think we can utilize AI, but to some certain extent. But where the utilization of AI, becomes negative on our own. Take for example what Bishop have said, the issue of maybe lack of jobs among humans. AI will now be, replaced according to what we hear and according to what. But just like I've said, I have seen a lot of impact of AI, especially in my own field, that is area of education. It has impacted on me because it has made things easier for me. But then, complete dependence on it and assuming that AI can do better than what human can, and this is where I have, my own different perception about it. But there is no denying the fact that AI has come to stay. This is one thing we must know, and this, whether it is a challenge or something that can be, we must be part of it, so that we can be able to regulate it, so that we can be able to enjoy the positive aspects of it, and then where it goes negative, then we call the attention of whoever is concerned, so that it will not be, bad on human societies in general.
Okay, I think, Prof, your question will be, can AI technology without limitation sustain humanity?
That's it. That's the reason why we're here. And that's the reason why we have a coalition of religious leaders coming together under JNI and Christian Council of Nigeria. And of course, you and I know that the policy, the AI policy, national AI policy is still in the stage of a framework. It has not become an act. We cannot allow the use of AI to be without ethical advantages to them. We need to bring in ethics to it.
When you
Now,
say ethics in this sense, what exactly do you mean?
what I mean by ethics is the developers must develop the various apps under God, paying attention, for me who is a Christian, the image of God in me. The person who is developing must also pay attention that AIs must be developed in such a way that it helps me do my work, not bring me down.
So are we saying if we want to continue the development of AI, we need to create AI for Christians, we need to create AI for Muslims, and we need to create AI for traditionalists? Or
No, I don't think this is what.
That's not what I'm talking about.
If I understood him, and I think we're on the same page on this end and in this aspect, he is just simply trying to let us understand that in as much as AI is important, and in as much as the Nigerian policy on AI is still ongoing, the religious leaders must participate in the development of this framework.
Yes.
Why? Because if you look at the Nigerian society, anyway, we have other religions, but Christianity and Islam has become, they are prominent in this society, and nothing can go well for any government, especially in Nigeria, without the inclusion or cognizance of these religious leaders. And how do we want the religious leaders to participate? Yes, because he has mentioned the issue of ethical consideration, ethical framework or regulations. Take for example an AI regulation that will not be in tandem with our religious values. should not be recognized. And who will do that? Especially it is the religious leaders that will tell the policy makers this is not in tandem or in conformity with our own values. You understand? And I'm just saying here that Christianity and Islam, they have a lot of similarities, and we're looking at those similarities. He has talked about the image of God. I may not look at it from the image, but we're still talking about those things, those blessings, those things that God has created us. Take, for example, the issue of human intelligence. For you to create a robotic machine and say it is above humanity, I think we are going contrary to our values, because human intelligence is higher. And just like we know, who even created the robotic? Is it not humans? The humans didn't use their intellect to create it, to instruct it, to give it rules and guide on what to do and what not to do. So what we are saying is that when the policy is ongoing, let us have this religious place so that they can have a say, and then especially where it can also be, if we allow the AI, it can also bring about issue of radicalism, terrorism, and what have you, even issue of having harmonious coexistence between, because if you go leave the AI unchecked, many things will be input that will even create chaos among even the Muslims and the Christians in society. And where will the government fall to if we have such? And this is why we are saying we need religious leaders to be included, to take part in the developing of the policy. That is just it. Just to take care of our own core values. And because it is the Muslims or Christian or traditional religions that are the citizens of Nigeria, and they are the ones that will be users, utilizers of this. So they should do it with peace of mind, having cognizance that their religion is well acknowledged.
This brings me back to our next question. What is the intersect between religion and AI?
The end users of AI will be members in various states in Nigeria. And because the end users will be our members, we also need to be careful with what the developers do with the contents that they put in AI. So that AI does help me to become a better Christian. AI does help me in my relationship with God. Are you noticing that emergence of technology is taking us far away from God? And so that's why, again, I want to emphasize on what Prof said, that religious leaders must be part of formulation of this national artificial intelligence policy, so that the developers would develop AIs in Nigeria that pays attention to our core values. Secondly, developers in Nigeria will also pay attention to may not be equal distribution, but distribution of our wealth. It's getting to a point where the people who control the AIs will be the ones who is also controlling our finance. We all need to pay attention to that.
We are talking AI in context of religion and Nigeria currently. But also, the major developers of AI are not Nigerians. They probably don't even believe in God. So now we are speaking as users. We are speaking as end users. Our policy and our regulators are only just going to regulate the use of AI in Nigeria. So how do you intend to shape this conversation, Prof?
Okay,
go ahead.
Okay. We don't want to be reactive. Global trend for us in the religious circles, sometimes global trends come like this and we turn our back on whatever the development is. But this time with AI, we're not going to do that. We are key stakeholders, and when we are key stakeholders, we do not just come to the table with nothing. Both JANI and Christian Council of Nigeria, what we want to do is, during the development, we will be key stakeholders by being developers. being developers is to encourage our members, do more study. In fact, one of the meetings we had yesterday, one of the things is to create a pool of members of Muslims and Christians who will continue to have conversations on this. If churches and mosques can actually, even sponsor people who will get educated and become developers. We want to be key stakeholders, not just as people who will be part of policy formulation, but we want to be part of developing the AIs that will be deployed in Nigeria, paying attention to the sensitivity of our faith.
I think that solves a lot, and that speaks a lot, because it's time the church, time the mosques, time Nigerians get involved in this trend, because from our cultural perspective and from where we come from, when you're developing something, those things you identify with.
Correct.
You impute them. But how do you think these principles will shape AI in Nigeria? Are you in support of the training, the development, and...
Yes, thank you very much. But let me just say a little bit about the intersection between
Religion and AI.
and AI. Yes, AI is part of technology, and I want to say here that Islamic religion recognize technology, and even though you cannot see AI obviously in the Quran, but there are issues related to it, because AI is here knowledge, and Islam is out to promote knowledge, irrespective of what type, so long as it will not undermine the religion, so long as it will not be a negative on the part of humanity. Islam, encourages that type of thing. And that is why we saw, even right from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, people were leaving Arabia to other parts of the world to seek for further knowledge, and they acquire so many knowledge. They look at it, they sift it, they look at it vis-a-vis Islam, and they all accept it, and it becomes, knowledge for the Muslim society. So the same thing with AI. And again, that is why you see in the religion of Islam, man is regarded as a vicegerent. He is referred to as Khalifa. And Khalifa here is a vicegerent. He is a vicegerent on earth to come and do some responsibility, to discharge some responsibilities. And AI, according to Islam, to Muslims, that it has come to support man in the discharge of his responsibilities on earth. So this is, you can see the relationship between AI, if we use it well. But it is not about to make it to supersede man. No, it is to support. And that is why I have said, you can see that AI, if well utilized and well checked and regulated, it will support human beings. It will support the society. Take, for example, even the area of agriculture, economic, health-wise, education. I've just given an example. I say I'm using, because a work that I may have used 3 hours, using it, I can use 1 hour to do it. So it is supporting me in my work. The same thing in any other field. But then, just like we have said, the question is in the area of principles, right? Yes, we are saying that if we agree, and the government also sees reason in what? In ensuring that religious leaders became part and parcel of this policy development, it will go a long way in making it something acceptable by the society. Because at the end of the day, it will not be a government policy, it will be our own policy, because we all contributed in the development of that policy. So I think this is what we should be looking, or we should be guiding. And then, how do we do it? Of course, you have mentioned that yes, these people may not know anything about religion. The same thing with any type of religion that is brought to Nigeria. We don't know about it, but we were taught, and that was how we became, versatile. We became experts today. So the same thing, through seminar, through workshop, through series of training, Nigerians will become experts in what? In AI. And then we now begin to develop our own AI that will suit our community, that will suit our values, that will suit our culture, so that we have AI as our own, not by the West again. But we use the knowledge to develop ours. So I think if we do that, we'll be able to come up with our own principles, with our own way of AI, despite the fact that it is brought to us from the West, or it is an alien something, anyway, any word we can use for that.
Okay.
Just to bring in a Christian perspective of what Prof has just mentioned. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 33, after God has created everything, he said they were good. And in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 4, he said everything God has created is good. It should not be rejected, but it must be received with thanksgiving.
Okay.
So AI is a beautiful thing. But what we're saying is that AI must be used to the glory of God.
If you say that, I'm of the school of thought. That's even just what it is. Humans feed AI.
Yes.
So, whatever we feed AI is what it gives back to us.
Correct.
The intersects.
That's why
When you remember
the first thing I said. I said we're as major stakeholders, we're not just coming to just support the formulation. We want to be developers. We want to be players. And so we want to have Christian AI developers. And that's why we have started this race. And we're going to get to that point. I told you that there will be pilot mosques and churches where this conversation is ongoing, where our young people are getting involved in it. Because the truth is that the West have gone far with this, but we're still just embracing them. I mean, look at what AI is doing in health. A surgery that can take place for 6 hours, it's done in 10 minutes. And you can see people getting accurate results of their health test right away. There's an AI in China that could cultivate hundreds of hectares of land. But the question I keep asking is, the Chinese who were cultivating it, where are they?
AI is here to make jobs easier, make it faster,
Yes.
and increase the lifespan of human beings if possible. Now, people have to be embracing of it and find a way to inculcate it into their daily lives. The Chinese man who is a farmer that has embraced AI would use more tractors, will have more yields and produce at the end of the day, which means he will have more to sell.
No, but the question I asked, those people who were working the land
Before
before the introduction of the AI, you see, what we're saying is that we need to get to a point.
They will go into other parts of it.
What we're saying is AI coming should make my work better.
But that is what it is.
One thing that is happening that a lot of people are not appreciating is the fact that people are going off their jobs.
Can you give me an instance, an exact instance?
By the time AI starts teaching the children in schools and in homes, where will Prof be? AI should be able to make Prof. If you have a curriculum of work that will last for 6 weeks, some students who can take it for 1 week, Prof will be able to take them through it.
So, if I let me join in this particular discussion, especially this area, you see, this is whatever discussion we are doing, it revolves around is this issue of regulation and
Correct.
principles.
That is it.
You understand? What we are saying is that in order, not for example, because we are looking at Nigeria as our case study here, in order for Nigeria not to experience mass unemployment, let us regulate AI.
Correct.
In order for me and others not to lose our job in the university, we need to regulate AI. Now let me give you an example of how AI can be misused or is already being misused. I will still use my own because that is where I know my own area in education. Do you know that now students are total dependent on AI? for their assignment, for their project, for anything you can think of in education. So what will be the fate of that education if we don't regulate it? And this is why we are talking about regulation or ethical, framework on all this, so that we know this is the area we can use AI. Then where you go beyond that, it may have another negative effect.
Correct.
We are not talking about religion. It can also affect other aspects of our lives, whether economic, political, education, and so on and so forth. So by the time we are able to, and there is no denial, it is still human that inputs into this AI. So what we are inputting, let us input what will be of the benefit of the generality of the society, so that when we don't regulate it, some of these issues, some of this that has already been we have started experiencing them, will continue to, and then at the end of the day we see that AI will do more harm than good, and this is our fear.
When you say the adoption of AI, I would think if we have students who are doing their assignments more with AI, we have lecturers, they are AI detecting apps also.
Of course, yes.
Where you can detect students who use apps.
Yes.
So I'm saying AI is good, but everybody needs to find a way around it. That means the teacher needs to be better skilled at identifying students.
You are talking along our own line.
Yes.
Yes.
Teachers need to find.
Yes.
So yours is the regulation. And then I think instead of just preaching the dark side of AI, we need to start teaching how to walk around AI.
No, I think you're mistaking what we're doing today.
Let me just add here, yes, to what she has said to support. In fact, we have already started working around AI, because I think last month I attended a workshop still on AI, but related to PG research methodology, because I'm the deputy dean of my PG school, so we are opportune, both I myself and my dean, to attend the training. And this is exactly what we are saying, that let us embrace AI. One, let us promote AI, but let us also be skillful in how to use AI so that we don't misuse it. And this is all we are seeing when we come to the issue of religion. If we allow it, in fact, it will lead to a sign that AI, others will be inputting it, and then before you know it, others are already declaring apostasy. They may not even believe in the existence of God. AI can do everything. So where is God? They will begin to question about the existence of God.
Now, I need to make some things clear. We are not against, the two religious groups are not against AI.
Okay.
We are excited that the global trend is that AI has come and is going to make our lives better. But we do not know the people who develop AIs that we're going to use in Nigeria. We do not know their religious backgrounds. They could be Satanists. And whatever thing their own focuses on making money. But for us end users, there are a lot of issues around it that we also need to pay attention to. That's why I said one of the reasons we are here, apart from the awareness we are creating, we want to be part of it. We are stakeholders. We want to be developers. Now, we also need to pay attention. The core values of an American is not the core values of Nigeria. The core value of a Christian in Nigeria is not the same core value of a Muslim. But there will be some connections. And so we're saying that AI is good, but we need to be part of formulation of the policies so that there will be ethical policies on how AI will be used in Nigeria.
Okay. So in essence, we need to slow down with the adoption of AI in Nigeria, if I understand this conversation very well.
Not as such, because if we say we are going to slow it down, we'll be left behind. Already we are behind. So what we need is this regulation, and then to see that agencies are at work. Take for it like the NITDA,
like
the NCC, Nigerian Communications something Commission, good, and so on and so on. Let them be at work so that we regulate it and we ensure that what is expected, because by the time we begin to see already we are behind, so we will not enjoy those advantages. And maybe by the time we do, others have gone very far. But all is that we need to be watchful so that those good aspects or those very vital aspects we are carried along in that process.
And of course, you know that the interim regulations now is by the MITA. But what are they using? What laws are they using to regulate? The related laws, like Consumer Protection Act, like Data Protection Act of 2023. Now, how many Nigerians do actually know the details of those acts? Who regulates what is deployed and what is not deployed? And so this is why we are still saying, without mincing word, we need to be part of that process. And that's why these advocacies are going on. And that's why these studies are going on. By the time we have these 2 pilot mosques, those 2 pilot churches, begin this conversation, AI will be used to the glory of God, both and glory of Allah.
Yes.
Now, so that it makes my preaching a lot better. If I want to reach 1 trillion persons in the world, AI can actually facilitate it, and I'm able to preach the gospel to 1 trillion persons, which is not possible if I was just moving from place to place. But we need regulations, my sister.
We need to get the Ogun man, the god of iron, the god of thunder man, to sit on this thing, so somebody else will defend his own rights. So it will not just be the Christians and the Muslims, and those that don't believe in God entirely would also be well represented.
Yes.
So we'd like to thank you all for coming. This is a brilliant conversation. We need to continue this conversation where we have somebody from the regulatory body sitting down and talking to us more on the arm of the regulators.
Yes, very important.
So it's clear, AI is a vast topic. Well, this is the much we can take on today's episode of the show. I would like to say a big thank you to our expert for shedding light on the complex world of artificial intelligence. As we wrap up, it's clear to note that AI's potential is vast, but so are its challenges. We'll continue to explore these topics on Clearview Times. Have a lovely day.